Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and we are joined by Chris Miller, the CEO and founder of Koios Beverage Corp. First of all, thank you for joining us, sir.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're going to talk all things health today. So in the past several years, as health foods and beverages have started tasting better and getting cheaper, we've seen a massive movement towards health consciousness. Every menu at nearly every restaurant has at least some healthy food as well as even vegan foods. There really does seem to be a renaissance in the health food and beverage industry. There are 80 million baby boomers spending whatever it takes to remain healthy and full of vitality. What would you attribute this to, and what is driving the consumer demand?
I would attribute it to obviously information. You know, we live in an information age. People recognize now more than ever that steak and potatoes every day is probably not good. That I quoted in the last two interviews. There's a doctor you guys should all follow named Dr. Hyman. He's on Instagram. He wrote in a book once called The Broken Brain that unless you're eating food from a soil pure, oxygen pure environment, that you're getting 9 hours of sleep every day, that you have zero stimulus outside of just being outside. It went on and on and on. And his point is that none of us are getting all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the information age has taught people how to live healthier, and everybody wants that. I also think we live in an age too where, you know, we're not in the industrial revolution anymore. We've moved into this analytical information age that everyone knows. But the thing I think people don't understand is that the information age is sort of destroying our health and our mental health. I don't think the human brain has evolved yet to deal with as much data as we collect every day. You know, there's more information in the Sunday New York Times than a nobleman would have known his entire life in the 1700s.
Mm-hmm.
Even your car all day long, or depending on what car you have, even your car yells at you when you get in it now, right?
Yeah.
Like you need gas, your tire pressure's low. It's just constant.
Yeah.
So I think people are looking for ways to supplement. They're looking for ways to live better, healthier, happier lives. And the technology's there, right?
Yeah, we're getting hit by data everywhere we go. It's over the top. Honestly, I think it brings a lot of stress to a lot of people's lives. It brings a lot of good too. And with a lot of that data, we are learning how to, produce new marvels that help us in this day-to-day bombardment by data. And the market has certainly provided, despite cheap, unhealthy fast foods, it's getting less expensive to be healthy as people learn more and more about vitality and want to prolong their life and health. Your personal story is interesting. Can you go into your own struggles with health, mental weakness, and what sparked your career?
Yeah, I would be really a lot more blunt and say mental illnesses that I've had over the years. I grew up played football and rugby in college. You know, back then it was about biohacking to get bigger, faster, stronger. I went to the NFL Combine, and when you go to the NFL Combine, you're supposed to be able to bench 225 pounds over 30 times, run the 40 very fast. So I've always been into the body in that sense. For a lot of years during that time, I was undiagnosed ADHD and autistic, not full autistic, but on the spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
And always suffered from it, just never knew what it was. And I don't know about you, but I grew up in an era that was very macho, or I guess I had a friend group that was very macho. So it was hard to admit certain things, which I think is neat with the mental health movement. People are now willing to say like, hey, I need help. But yeah, when I got into the workforce, when I became an adult, so to speak, I realized that muscles, how big my pecs were didn't make me good in the office. How big my biceps were, how healthy my body was, didn't necessarily translate into the workplace. And so like everybody else, I self-medicated my issues, drank too much caffeine, energy drinks. And then eventually I got prescribed Adderall, which is we live in a very prescription-based society, where CBD and marijuana sort of took advantage of the opioid epidemic. I think the next big health epidemic or crisis we face in this country is stimulants. I think you'd all be shocked about how many people are actually on Adderall and abuse it every day.
It's a terrible thing. It's ruined so many people's lives that I know personally. I mean, people try to make excuses for it. They say, well, I take Adderall because it helps me get more stuff done. And it's mostly just compensating for what individuals are really personally capable of.
Yeah, and that person might have, I dealt with anxiety for a long time and ADHD, and if you know anything about autism, it's very sensory driven, meaning I walk around the office with noise canceling headphones on because I can't take in too much stimulus, right? And Adderall, it can definitely get you to focus, and so can caffeine. But over time, people end up abusing it, even caffeine. I mean, with the surge, the surge of Bang energy drink with 300 milligrams of caffeine per serving, and people doing 1,000 milligrams of caffeine a day, that's not sustainable. The analogy I always give is like, if you had a car with a souped up engine and you used your NOS every day. For those of you who don't know cars, NOS would be a big turbo boost in your car. You destroy the engine in a month. You imagine every time you went to the grocery store, you hit the NOS button. And so that we're sort of doing that to our brains and bodies now.
Well, I mean, something I have to reach out to everyone watching that enjoys coffee, which is probably most of the people watching, and including myself. You have to ask yourself, if you're not addicted to coffee, can you go tomorrow or the day after without drinking coffee in the morning? And I think it would be a resounding no.
Yeah, people would be terrified, which I get. We're not even saying don't drink coffee. A good cup of coffee is great. The problem lies in the fact that, you didn't sleep the night before because our sleep habits were poor. Most of us bring our laptops, TVs, and phones into our bed. We're just not sleeping good enough. And then you feel tired the next day, so you overcompensate. And that becomes your life for 20, 30 years. And it's just not healthy. And I could go on and on about how overconsumption of stimulants leads to all sorts of bad things, including hormonal dysfunction, sleep issues, you can gain weight. So I got prescribed Adderall. It was really starting to ruin my life. Again, if you don't know much about it, it's one molecule away from being methamphetamine. And I started to take too much of it, and it really wrecked my life. A prescription drug that a doctor gave me started to ruin my life. And I didn't know where to go. I didn't have any answers. On top of that, I had to start taking sleeping pills just to go to bed at night, because too much stimulant, too, raises your anxiety and your fight or flight syndrome, right? It gets you very intense. And it was hard for me to wind down at night. So when I hit rock bottom mentally and physically, I started looking for natural alternatives. There's got to be a way to duplicate this somehow, and not only have a short-term effect of higher cognition, clarity, etc., but also build the brain and give it what it needs to be healthy. Right. And so, started working for years with a very smart team of people, and came up with our first original formula that's since been clinically tested, and on and on and on. And then, we went into beverage. But I think for the people thinking of investing in Koios or looking at this as an opportunity, the nootropic space is about to explode. And the reason being is because people are realizing that 40 cups of coffee is not cutting it anymore. There's got to be a better technology, right?
Right. And I do want to kind of get into that a bit with you, because we should talk about the solutions, and you are providing solutions. This is one of the things that we really love about talking with people, head of companies that are really creating a solution to problems that we're analyzing left and right. And both Walmart and GNC carry your products and actually went out of the way to pursue your business. Rather, than the other way around. Can you tell our audience about Koios beverages, from Fit Soda to the so-called 5 functional flavors, and the solution that it provides?
Yeah. So to that point, again, I think the nootropic space is exploding. Soylent just put one out. So did Cellucor. These are major companies. As the category is exploding, I always tell people that if you invest in Koios, I think it's a lot like investing in kombucha 10 years ago. Right? Kombucha's exploded. Everybody knows about it. Everybody's had one. It was kind of the functional beverage that disrupted a lot of things. But Koios is at that early stage of where kombucha was, 5 to 10 years ago. It's getting ready to explode. So our Koios beverage has, lion's mane mushroom in it, MCT oil in it, amino acids like L-theanine and L-tyrosine. We use green tea instead of just straight caffeine, because of the antioxidants and the benefits of green tea. We use electrolytes. We use all sorts of things. And there's only 60 milligrams of caffeine per can of Koios, which is less than a diet soda. And so whatever great feeling you're getting, and that focus and that mood enhancement, is not from just the caffeine. It's from all the ingredients we use. And all those ingredients, too, are going to give you a long-term benefit, right? They're going to repair brain function, help your adrenal function so your hormones and cortisol isn't so high. It should help you stay more relaxed. And we designed it that way on purpose, to give people a much healthier, organic, natural alternative to overstimulation. And then our Fit Soda line is really, it's really a funner way to hydrate. We look at our Fit Soda line as our real mass audience, convenience store product, which we're already getting a ton of interest in the C-store channel, which is convenience stores. So your 7-Elevens, your gas stations. But really, it's an organic, natural way to hydrate. We looked at the market. I think a lot of the companies that are exploding, one of them being Beyond Meat, they took a really healthy concept of, hey, let's be vegetarian, but they made it taste like meat, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think some of the innovations in food are the companies like us, or Halo Top's another good example. For those of you who don't know Halo Top, 200 calories per pint of ice cream, and it was naturally made. The idea being you can crush the whole tub, right? How fun is that? I think Fit Soda's on par with those companies who are exploding, meaning we made an all natural way to hydrate that tastes like soda, but you get BCAAs and electrolytes with it. And so it's just a really fun way to recover and naturally hydrate.
It's crazy how few people really understand how important electrolytes are. I mean, I can't properly sit down and interview people and do videos without getting some electrolytes. It just wakes up my mind. It gives me energy. It makes me feel like Superman for a few moments, at least, as I go into something. It makes me feel confident. It makes me feel a lot better. And that hydration is so important. And I try to explain that to people, and people go, oh, well, I'll just grab, a Gatorade. And it's like, it's more than just like a sugary Gatorade. There's more to it than that. But I wanted to talk a bit about this. Tapping into this market is pretty significant in this day and age, as we have many viewers who invest. As an investment, Koios Beverages is a microcap company with a $10 million market cap. You're projecting revenues of $4 million in 2020, and you don't have any real debt. Are you looking to get into franchises like Whole Foods or, launch new products going forward?
Yeah, of course. So we'll continue to carve out the natural space, meaning Whole Foods, H-E-B's, Sprouts. We've been in conversations with all of them. The retail sector takes some time. For instance, every one of those buyers has sets that reset every, 60, 90 days. So sometimes you're just on the waiting list, but those are all conversations we have and hope to execute on in 2020. Additionally, we've had a lot of success with our direct to consumer model. I think the advent of Shopify has really driven consumers to not only steer away from Amazon and Walmart's and move direct to buy from manufacturers direct. So since last September, our online revenues have gone up, 3,000 or 4,000%. We hope to release some new products this year that we've sort of already announced, an enhanced coffee line, a beauty line that we think are going to do really well online, so that we can hedge our bets with retail and, obviously profit margins and stuff like that with direct. Plus, on top of that, we have such a massive digital audience that, new product launches and direct to consumer for us make a ton of sense. So
right, and as the legalities go, I must say everyone must do their own due diligence. But I mean, 3,000% rise in online revenues is no joke. That's huge. Is it hard to be a small business in such a competitive industry? I know you're a big advocate of entrepreneurialism and from regulations, taxes, all sorts of boundaries. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on the struggle of small businesses in a competitive market like we're seeing today in the health consciousness field.
Yeah, no. So I've had that question twice today already, and it's a really good question. It is super competitive. It is hard. I mean, to get Walmart and GNC to call us should speak to, it's unheard of. And what we've done in the beverage space in 1 year is unprecedented, right? We're on track to do, again, do your own research. But in my humble opinion, we're on track to do what Buy and some of these major brands have done over a 5-year period. When we decided to relaunch into retail, we really looked at it and reverse engineered it. So if you're trying to do it traditionally, like just cold calling and trying to compete for shelf space, and that can be a really tough game to play. And it is competitive. We did it in reverse when we relaunched and built a digital audience and built a digital fan base before we launched into retail, which we think has made us successful in that space. And we'll continue to focus on, connecting with consumers. I think we'll pass 100,000 followers in the next 6 months. And those followers are going to drive retail success, right? So, but it is hard. It's hard because we also make our own stuff too. So we have a very high quality standard, and there's a lot of challenging days, but it's,
I mean, with this market being so competitive, I have to ask, what really sets you apart from anyone else? What makes you unique that, the other businesses that you're competing against don't have, that you have?
Yeah. Again, going back to the kombucha example, I think Koios and Fit Soda are both tremendously white space products. When you walk into a store, you don't see a product like ours. So when we are retailed, it draws people in very quickly. So we're the only ones really focused on, where kombucha was gut health, we're very much brain health. So white space product, it allows for incredible merchandising opportunities. It allows for the consumer to pick something new they haven't tried maybe before. And then Fit Soda, no one's ever created a product like Fit Soda. So when we're on shelves and the way that we merchandise gives us a tremendous competitive advantage. And we're already seeing the success of that in the few stores that we're in with Fit Soda already. So, but then on top of that, we've gotten so good at digital marketing and building our digital group that where we don't necessarily have to compete as hard in store because we have such a large family following. And we'll continue to focus on that, which we believe gives us an advantage.
Well, I would have to ask then, going forward, what would be your elevator pitch if you were to, pitch people that are watching right now and why they should buy products or even invest in your company?
Yeah, that's multi-layered. I think on the investment side, we're undervalued right now, I believe. I think with what we have planned for 2020, now's the best. There's never been a better time to snap up Koios at a very low valuation. And especially with the projected revenues, if you do the math, the valuation is going to go up, right? Or very likely could go up. In terms of elevator pitch on the product, I mean, you'd be hard pressed to drink anything and feel as good as you'd feel on Koios, period. There's not a healthier, more natural product on the market that's going to make you feel that locked in for the whole day.
Right. Well, this is one of our favorite things to do, talk to people who have innovated in this market. And, over the last couple years of a once or twice a month, we have someone on that has an interesting product. And I think it's important that our viewers hear about this stuff, especially when we're talking about the health consciousness field. We're talking about an area that actually you can prolong your life. You can feel better. I mean, what's the number one thing people want in life other than, well, money is, feeling good. And obviously,
I think that's the number one thing your wealth is determined by your health.
Exactly. Absolutely. You can't be wealthy if you're laying in bed eating cheeseburgers all day. But I mean, it's a really important issue, and I wish more people really dug into it and became the change and became the solution, because your background story is really inspiring and it's really interesting to hear from you. I wanted to finish this off by asking you where people can learn more about Koios and possibly get involved or see your investor deck.
Yeah, so go to koiosbeveragecorp.com. koiosbeveragecorp.com. If you click on the investor tab, we have, all of our financials, press releases, our investor deck. And then we have a full-blown team that just handles inbound investor calls. So you can call that number and speak with one of our team members on the opportunity itself.
Well, it's very interesting talking with you. I really appreciate you joining us today, and hopefully we'll get to talk with you again soon.
Awesome. Thank you for having me on.
Like what you see here at Wham, don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We cannot do it without you guys. Every donation is extremely, extremely appreciated as we're getting incredibly shadow banned. We've lost 80% of our audience since January of 2019 and counting. They are ripping us apart here on YouTube, and the only thing we could do in the meantime as we prepare for the next big step is to ask for help from the viewers that support our free information that we try to post on a daily basis. You can also find us on Subscribestar, where just $1 a month, that's all it takes, $1 a month is all it takes to truly make a huge difference. If everyone gave $1 a month, it would change everything for independent media, and we could win this information war, and we can defeat the mainstream medias eventually. And of course, on Subscribestar, we post subscriber-only content that you'll only see on Subscribestar. So make sure to pledge there, become a patron. That makes a huge difference, guys. And also, don't forget to check out our Bitcoin address below in the comments and description, as well as on the screen for you to scan, if you please. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on the alternatives. We will likely be deleted by YouTube in the next 2 years. It's already happening on a vast scale, so make sure to find us on float.app. That's flote.app. At Josh Sigurdson, as well as at Wham, W-A-M. Float.app is replacing every social media, and I mean, it's just incredible the opportunities it provides for not just creators, but for the average person who wants to get away from these nannies telling them what they can or cannot see. They plan to replace Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, Tumblr, Reddit, and Patreon. You could subscribe to us on Float and pledge with cryptocurrency. currency. It's really innovative. We are also on BitChute at World Alternative Media, as well as so many others, Minds, PocketNet. You can find us at World Alternative Media on Instagram. There's many options. And finally, don't forget to join us at Anarchapulco 2020, the famous event, the best Liberty event known to mankind, other than perhaps Anarcho Vegas 2020. There are 2 major events coming up that we are extremely excited about, and you can use promo code WHAM, that's W-A-M, and save 10% on your tickets to these legendary conferences. There's so many amazing people speaking there. You won't want to miss it. So make sure to support in any way you can, even if it's just sharing our videos, pressing like, pressing to be notified. Anything helps, folks. You are the change you wish to see. Thanks for watching, everyone. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.
Wow.